So welcome to the OarBoard Ambassador Meeting, March 2022. I'll go over what we're going to talk about today. We've got a bit of an agenda here where we did a bit of a quick introduction, but I'll do a more formal introduction of each of you. I'd like you to speak up and share a win. Share a win, ideally with relationship to your fitness or your rowing or your OarBoard. But if you don't have one of those, just share something positive that we can all celebrate with you. I'll tell about some ambassador resources that we have and that we've put together. So I'll put that forward and I'll put that on the screen and share what we have available. And then we'll talk about a World Org Challenge that's being organized by one of our ambassadors, and just test the waters to see if there's interest in participating in a spring OarBoard challenge in about 15 days. So these are two opportunities just to get involved and motivate one another to stay fit and active. Then there's a few questions that came in through the Calendly form. So we'll talk about that. I'll talk about this Grow Your Rowing Club program. And is there anything else I should be putting on the agenda? I'll take silence as agreement. So it's myself. You should be familiar with my funny looking mug. I'm an old rower, Olympic gold medalist, Stanford alum like Carol. I'm an old ocean rower. I wrote a book, and if you haven't yet gotten it, I can sign it and send it to you, and that's a privilege of being an ambassador. I love saunas and I love my garden. We also have the beautiful and lovely Diana Legere, who herself is one incredible athlete, once beat me in a rowing race at the Road to Alaska, and is now a full-time auntie, has adopted her niece and is raising her. So that's heart expanding and challenging. So welcome, Diana. Do you have anything else you want to share?
Thanks, Adam. No, that was great. Hi to everybody. Yeah, I will add that she is here with me today, so hopefully I can keep the noise down. But no, things have been really great. As far as going the win, I would say that my big win that we've done recently for the OarBoard has been pretty exciting. It's got away to some warm weather, and we did a quick 4-night trip with the 16 and a 13-4 combo to Cabo for 3 video shoots in 4 days, and packed in our whole trip, and it was really good. And we got some beautiful footage that you'll be seeing as going forward as well. So we yeah, it was nice to get a quick little breakaway and get some warm weather, but it was really fun to have some new footage and have the OarBoard out in a new spot. We'd never brought them there before, and lots of interest on the beach and people coming up to see what the heck we were up to there as we went out. Just a little bit of a rolling wave coming in, nothing too crazy, but definitely we're the only ones out there on boards of any sort. So it was exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. It'll be great to to see the pictures when they come out. Diana showed me some on her phone. It looked absolutely divine. Taking, especially for those of you in the snow, it's great to dream about bringing some OarBoards on a plane and taking it to somewhere hot and doing that. I did that myself in Hawaii, and it was wonderful.
I have a quick question, if I may, to
Sure.
Diana. Back one slide to where she's sitting on the OarBoard there, and she's is that cold water, and are you wearing a waterproof clothing, because that would expand the season for us cold weather?
Yeah, it definitely is cold water. We row year round here in Victoria, and the ocean doesn't change a lot in temperature, just the air above does to keep you warmer. But at first I tried rowing. I just got a plain Jane wetsuit. And anything restricting your movement like that, pulling your knees up constantly, it just didn't seem to work as well. And I just figured once you got comfortable on the OarBoard, we realized right away that it's pretty hard to tip. I know some crazy wind and waves. So I was just dressing a little warmer, had a couple extra layers on, but I've never rode in any kind of waterproof, wetsuit type gear, because it just doesn't. It restricts your movement a little bit, and after an hour of rowing or so, it does add up to it. So yeah, I've just that first time tried it with a wetsuit. I have never worn a wetsuit rowing before, but you have to really be doing something. The times I've fallen off is out in some crazy surf and horsing around and doing something, or even diving off on purpose to cool off. But yeah, it's as far as getting wet, once you're comfortable on there, you know, in the winter when we're going out in that kind of weather, that kind of cold temperatures, we're going out in nice flat water and just going for a nice little cruise around, and not really, you know, venturing in any big swells and stuff like that. Even once you get practice at that and doing it as much, it's pretty hard to tip too. You have both your blades in the water stabilizing you. So as long as you're kind of thinking about that, I think you definitely could go out in some cooler weather. I just tell people to wear a bit extra layers, and you do warm up still pretty quickly. And so I'll usually bring a dry bag. I can even put a couple extra layers in my dry bag on deck if I need to.
Yeah, so a lot of it is wool is what I've found. You know, if you can get the merino wool or the wool layers and really layer up, that something that breathes but also holds in the heat, and even when it gets wet, it stays warm. But again, you know, we talk about safety and your own confidence as a rower. You know, I will happily row year round, even when it's, you know, below freezing, and I'm comfortable with that. But again, picking, you know, weather windows where it's calm, where you have less risk of tipping. We find that people, once they get experienced on the OarBoard, don't tend to tip. If you are uncomfortable, stay close to shore. Always make sure you have a personal flotation device with you, that you have a radio possibly on that's, you know, clipped somewhere. If you want to have an extra layer of safety, bring your personal safety equipment, which is a tow line, and we don't necessarily need a baler because the OarBoard doesn't flood, but a whistle and communication equipment. And when warmer weather, just practice falling off and getting back on your OarBoard. That's another great exercise and a great way to just fool around when it's hot. And it'll give you more confidence. Even when I'm training people to row on a flat water scull, that's what I'll do is let's have flipping practice. And we just practice flipping the boat and rewriting and getting back in. And cold water can kill. I've known a few people who've died falling into cold water, and they were even young people, but it only takes 10, 15 minutes in cold water for you to lose everything. So, rest in peace. And hopefully that can be a lesson, know your limits, stay within it. And if ever you feel that little ping and voice inside saying, this isn't safe, don't be a hero. Go back in, go to the shore. It's not worth it. So does that help?
Yes, thank you for that. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, well, we're going to do a circle of wins. And we're going to start with Mr. John Doherty, who left us a great note. We had Don Rasky was showing off to some relatives at home. He was unable to make this call. But John, you said you've shown your OarBoard 3 times, and the Rochester Rowing Club just purchased it, or someone did, and they're excited. You're on mute, man.
Yeah, one of the members of the club bought one right away for her summer cottage. She loves to row. I'm participating in the Rochester Inclusive Rowing Club, and we have a lot of work we do with veterans and people with all kinds of handicaps and disabilities. People have really been impressed with how stable and easy it is to start out on the OarBoard. So the club may be looking at some boards, because it's a much better platform to learn on for inclusive rowers than a traditional shell, even when the shell has floats.
Yes, well, please keep us in the loop. And I'll tell you about our Grow Your Rowing Club program, because at OarBoard, we are all about inclusion. We're all about growing the sport, and we want to get as many people on the water as possible. And the OarBoard is a great vessel to do this. It's so functional. So that's really cool to hear. And then we'll also hear about this ERG challenge, which Michael Rawlings is a veteran himself who's running the ERG challenge from today, March 15th, until April 15th. And I think he might have even, I'll show his stats later, but he's another person in the OarBoard community who believes in keeping veterans active and keeping veterans healthy. Let's move to David. Tell me about your win. What's your win for?
Strictly physical in the gym, the rowing there, working out in one of the classes there. So that's it. No, haven't had an opportunity to show the board yet, but looking forward to getting out on the water, and people will notice.
Yeah,
That's it.
they do notice the boards. They're
Yep.
not they're not commonplace yet.
Yet, yeah. A lot of kayaks out on the lake. I mean, it's a powerboat lake too. It's big enough for powerboats.
Yeah.
But a lot of kayaks and a lot of kayakers. So they'll watch me glide by.
Yeah. Well, Carol, tell me about one of your wins. You're on mute too.
Well, my win is that I got some rotator cuff problems in November and December, but I seem to have conquered them, and I'm back on rowing in my little rowing machine. Too much ice to go outside. So, but the interesting news is I'm going to Finland in June to compete at the World Masters Race Walking Championships, which means that if I take an OarBoard to Lake Tahoe, just before that, I'm gonna have to fly with it. So I'll give you information on flying around with my board, since I want to show and tell and try and get the camp that I go to buy some boards.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we'd love to see some pictures, however you want to share them. But it's pretty fun. It's fun to bring. It's some work, obviously, because it's luggage that you're carrying, but it's really neat to go to places that don't have rowing and just walk up and set it up and go. So that's
well, they have aging shells, so and I think it's time for them to think about something a little more robust and not as tippy in lakes that can kill you.
Yeah,
if you fall in.
Exactly. And more inclusive and fun, that more people can get out there and try.
Yeah,
that's exciting. Well, it's great to hear. And we'll be cheering for you at World Masters.
Yep.
Yeah, keep those both 1 foot on the ground at all times.
Absolutely. A straight knee too.
Yeah.
Two rules.
Straight knee, 1 foot on the ground. And Finn, how about yourself?
I'm new to the group, but I just bought my second board. I just bought the 16 and going to include my wife rowing this summer. And then I row with about 5 other OarBoard members here in the Denver area. So I haven't, everything's frozen right now, but prior to that, just about every time you're out, somebody asks you about the board.
Yeah. Denver, tell us a little bit more about the Denver OarBoard group that you're a part of.
Sure. Andy Medvik is the ambassador that I met when I bought my board last year. And I met up with him and he showed me how to set it up and do the initial rowing with him. And actually gave me a pair of mirrors. And then he has organized about every month to a month and a half, about 5 of us from the Denver area. So as far as Fort Collins down to Colorado Springs, we'll get together and row one of the main 3 reservoirs in the Denver area. And then I've been taking my board up into the mountains. So there's a number of resorts and lakes up in the mountains. So there's about 5 reservoirs I kind of go between each summer.
And I'm in Longmont. I would love to join if I could get some contact information.
You bet. Do you know Andy by any chance in the Facebook group? Okay. Yeah, definitely we can hook up.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's do well, you can find each other's contact information on the ambassador page And that's one of the, especially now that we're on the other side of COVID, this is one of the exciting opportunities of the OarBoard Ambassador Group specifically, because people are interested in connecting with other, passionate OarBoarders around the world. I know that there's one member who's unable to show up today who wants to organize a big, everybody flies to some exotic location, brings their OarBoard, and has a little fun. So when we see these communities grow up, our hearts start to swell, because we know we're doing the right thing and bringing people together and keeping them fit and building community and being active. And that's a lot of what we're about. So that's, if you have any trouble connecting, Carol, Finn, please reach out to myself or Diana, and we'll help facilitate that. But otherwise, you should be able to click away and figure that out.
I'll look up the ambassador page. So,
Yeah, I can send an email to Carol if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll
here-
try on our own and see if we can't manage. Okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
bet.
Try
Yeah,
first.
like Finn just said, Andy Medvick kind of runs that group, and they post some really cool pictures on the community page, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely be worth for you to get.
Yeah. Finn, I row at Union Reservoir mostly. So
Oh, nice. Yeah.
it's a good place.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's, I put some stuff in the chat as well. I put a link to the ambassadors page and Andy's name in there if you're interested. So that's really great to hear. Ron, do you want to share anything? Are you on other things right now?
Oh, I'm here with you, but I will be leaving shortly. So thanks for the shout out, Adam. First of all, I'd like to do a quick promo for OarBoard in the winter. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, which is balmy to me compared to Minnesota, where I moved from in 1987. But the river temps do drop down. And I saw Diana and the other lady down in Cabo right after I came back, 7 weeks in Cabo. And I had flown down there for only 3 weeks, didn't take my OarBoard because I thought the surf was going to be too heavy. And then Alaska Airlines, which will carry an OarBoard and the inflatable paddle boards for free, by the way, allowed me to change my flight for another month. So I was down there for 7 weeks, just wishing I had my OarBoard down there. So I came back to Portland and launched my racing skull. And the second time I was out, I came back, and in the dismount, I actually was out of practice, wasn't focused, and I flipped and I went in 41-degree water. And it's not fun, guys. You don't have much time to recover and get out. So from that experience, I hung up the racing shell, and it's not going to be rode in the wintertime again. And really, the OarBoard can be a life-saving craft if it keeps one person off of a racing shell or another shell that could potentially flip in the wintertime. I feel completely safe, stable on the OarBoard, and it's a great wintertime craft. I was kind of curious about Diana's mention of the wetsuit with restriction. I never tried a wetsuit because I was thinking of the heat restriction to your body. I think you would just overheat with the wetsuit. So I've heard of some dry suits out there that are breathable, and I'd like to learn more about them if there's a reasonably cost one. But outside of that, I dress for the extreme exercise and the ambient temperature, and I don't worry about the river temperature. So that plus showed the boat a couple times, and hopefully we'll get a sail or two coming out of it. Good to see you all, and thank you, Adam.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ron. So we'll go through some of the resources that we have available for our ambassadors, and put that put that up on the screen. So we've put together some resources that are available. We do have swag that's available. T-shirts, there's some hats. If you are interested and want something like that, if you see something on social media or see something that we put up on screen, again, reach out to myself or Diana, and we'll get someone in the office to throw it in the mail and send it to you, because as ambassadors, you're important to us. And again, we want to make sure that you're helping the sport grow and getting more people out there. And you yourself, through this relationship, are motivated to get out there as well. We also have these little bands. I guess I'm wearing one of these wristbands. There we go. Just focusing in on your wrist. There's some ambassadors who like to wear these wristbands while they row, so that when they see someone on the water who's kayaking, they can just take it off, give it to the other person, and they can put it on their wrist and remember what the thing was called. Some people will take a Sharpie and they'll write their name on, they'll write their name on the yellow one wouldn't show up, but they'd write their name on the wristband, and that way their name is remembered when the individual makes the purchase later down. And then you as an ambassador either get a $300 credit or a $100 cash credit for every OarBoard that's eventually sold through your referral. If you have kids like I do, they like the swag. That's my boy, Jefferson, one of 3. And like we said, there's referral rewards that are available. And we also have business cards. A number of ambassadors have gotten quite excited about the business cards. And we have someone in our office named Clark who will work with you to make sure that your name is listed properly and all your numbers are listed properly. That will be printed and sent to you, so that if you're ever out, you can just hand out the card. And I think that's a really great thing. Yes, Carol.
How do we know how many credits we've gotten since, like there was supposed to be a web page we were supposed to see things at, but I've never gotten reference to that. So I think I've gotten 4 boards, but don't know what's happened.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a note. You do have a login, so you can go to the website. You can log in with your ambassador link and look at your sales, but I'll make a note to email that off to you after the call.
Okay, I never got it. So, or else I lost, I didn't get to me somehow. So that would be good.
I'll check in with Clark. He has that. So I'll see if I can get him to resend that to you today.
Thank you.
No problem.
I want to get a 16 with another seat as soon as I can afford it. So I can go out with friends.
And then also, if you know the names of the people that you think that, because not everyone's going to use the link when they go through. We're trying to get that going more so that you can look at it and you can follow your referrals and know exactly what's happening. But a lot of people are still phoning in, and that's fine. If you know the names of the people, I can check.
I do. Yeah.
Too. So I'll start the conversation with you with the email. We can look at your website sales, and if there's nothing on there, we can look up the names and get you going as well.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
And that's also a question that Diana asks on whenever someone calls in for the sales. We don't talk to everybody on the sales, but when she'll ask them, "Oh, who referred you for this?" And so we do our best to track it. Right now, we're a small company, so we're trying to put the systems in place to make sure that it's a little bit more fluid. And but right now, I think we're just tracking in a spreadsheet. Or do we have something more complicated than that, Diana?
Yeah, the website linking with, so you see on the sample that you put up here with your unique link. So if the ambassador is given that to the customer that's buying and they use that link to log in, then they're just shopping as that ambassador's credit so that we can actually track every sale. And then we can look on the back end of the system of how many sales they have. So see right here, if someone can go on and shop and say, buy now with your ambassador's referral link. They just click there. And all that will do is bring them back to the website, and now they're shopping under that ambassador's referral link. So then we can track through the back end of the website if the sale came through. And then also it's on the form when they purchase as well, if it was through one of the ambassadors. And then, like you just mentioned as well, if all that fails, I'm talking to them when they purchase their sale, I'll keep track of that. Then I'll try and go in the back end and credit that in there too, is what we're trying to get going so that it can always just be kept track of quite, like you said, fluidly and keeping it going, but we are still work in progress. So we're definitely open to, if you say you've got someone that purchased, I've got people that email me and say, oh, I just showed it to this person. I don't know if they'll use my link, and I'll just try and keep track of that way best as we can. We have well, I think we're getting close to 300 ambassadors now. We're moving up pretty quickly. I think we got 3 new just this week. So it's a lot to keep track of. So we're doing our best is trying to get people to use that link as much as possible. But regardless of however they make the purchase, whether we find out from them or you send me their name, we're happy to give the credit for it. That's not a problem at all. And also, I just saw Ron is making a comment there. If anyone like their picture on the contact link, send it in to us, and we'd love to have your photo up there. And that helps with the person that's meeting with you as well. So any photos you have, we'll put them in to the spotlight on the ambassador page as well. If you'd like to have that, it doesn't have to be on the OarBoard. A lot of people have something on the OarBoard. That's great if you have that option. But if it's just a picture you have, you could do that as well. Or you see how we got one of Michael Rawlings there. So either way, it'd be great to have a picture on there as well for you if you don't want to send one in to us.
Yeah, the pictures are great. People see you, they remember you. And then you can also take this link and post it on social media, or just keep it handy in your email. Say, here, give me an email, I'll send you the link. You send me a text, keep it handy on your phone on a notepad where you can copy and paste it. Just so that if you run into someone, you can copy it from your phone and text it to them, or copy it and email it. Or just seems like people are using all different channels, right? Email, text, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Zoom. I don't know. However, you can maybe you know how to just put things from mind to mind. You're a bit of psychic, so you can just psychically, telepathically pass the link to them. Not yet, maybe in the future. Okay, let's get back to, so we've got the business cards here that are available for what's happening here? Okay. I'm just looking for a screen right now that's not showing up, and cancel that. And I want this. And now I'm going to click share screen. There we go. And so, oh, that's not what we want. Stop share. Yeah, interesting. It's not working for me right now. Let me close it. Play. Close, share screen. There we go. So again, if you want this, reach out to us. We'll send it your way. And then also I've got a book. If you wrote a book, best-selling book. Talk about my Olympic experience. It's very geared towards leadership development, personal development. If you're into that, then you might enjoy the read. There's some stories in there too from the Olympics. And those are, I think, some of the resources that are available for the for you as ambassadors to to access. Do you have any other questions or comments about those? So we've got swag, we've got a book, we've got business cards. Okay. And so one of the benefits of being part of the ambassador community is that as we get to know each other, we become more comfortable reaching out to one another, and we can share our experiences. For example, Don shared this a while ago, where he just takes the boat out, people notice, and he gave us the suggestion of he normally hands out these wristbands to people who come by, or he gives them the website URL of OarBoard.com. And it's fun. It's a fun way to connect with people. If you're a people person who likes other people coming by, it's just a great way to have a conversation, be friendly, introduce them to someone new, a great excuse to strike up a conversation. Got this guy in Leander, Texas, Jeffrey Lindsay. He's taken the OarBoard and he's put a seat on it, and he takes people out on tours, and he puts a cooler on the end. and he's very creative in how he's, you know, re-rigged the OarBoard and used it for different means. Then we've got Michael Rawlings that we've talked about earlier, and we'll talk about later in the OarBoard challenge. But here's a guy, and especially for you in the Rochester Inclusive Rowing Club, John, he's got a story. They said that he was going to die in 2017, and his doctor basically said OarBoarding saved his life. And so that's something we can be proud of, as you know, as OarBoard ambassadors, that we know that we're spreading, you know, spreading health, we're spreading wellness. Also want to say Marty Hawk is available. This is another one of our ambassadors. If any of you want a virtual lesson and you want to talk to someone and get feedback on your rowing stroke, get a little better, Marty Hawk is very keen to connect and share his experience. He's been a rowing coach for decades and decades and has more experience than I can recount, and is very well, very well versed in the sport and teaching the sport. So if any of you want a tune-up on your stroke, Marty is 100% available to help support your development. And then we have the Facebook community page, which is another way to connect with other OarBoard members. So we have all these different channels for individuals to connect, and hoping that, you know, just through this work, relationships are built and we get more people out there. And here we've got Chris, who just shared a picture of an eagle he saw or she saw while she was rowing on the water. And we're also on YouTube. We post this and other ambassador calls from the past on YouTube. And that's a way for you to get to know other members and get other information. Each call has a different theme associated with it, where you learn other things. We had Akil Abdullah, who's an engineer and an athlete with hydro. I got to know him when I was an international athlete. He won the Diamond Sculls at the Royal Henley in England. So he shared with us some of his knowledge on storytelling, being a better storyteller, especially online, using your social media accounts, because he's been trained by Hydro to do that. So he shared a lot of that knowledge with us. I had one of my teammates, Kevin Light, on board. We won Olympic gold together with him. And he's now a professional photographer. So he's shared a lot of photography tips. So if you're an amateur photographer looking to boost your skills at taking pictures, then he's got a great insight. And we have an erg challenge. But before I go on, any questions? Any comments? Okay, we'll keep moving on. We have this erg challenge, which is the World Erg Challenge. Mike Rawlings has done this a number of times, and I've got my dog here for some reason. This is my puppy. Here's my puppy. It's not a Zoom call if you don't have a puppy intrusion. So we've got this World Erg Challenge that Michael Rawlings ran he's run it for a couple of years, and we've got a team, an OarBoard team, that we run through it. And you can see he won this was the team that was involved last year. And Michael Rawlings placed well in the adaptive side of things. He put in, 711,000 meters, which is pretty impressive. And the OarBoard team OarBoard is part of the challenge here. You can see Michael Rawlings. And so that's something that is available and I'll send another note about being involved in that. If you're using the rowing machines, I know David said you're using that, and so Carol, and it's just a way to log your miles and you'll be part of a community and stay motivated and just say, oh, I'm part of this team and I'm just going to report it for a month and challenge yourself. Also online, we did an interview and a presentation a while ago where we talked about rowing machines. And so I did a full review of all the different rowing machines that are out there. There's so many different ways to row, such a wonderful exercise. And if we're staying fit off the water, then we're more able to get on the water and stay healthy on the water. So that resource is there, as well as information from Anna Marie de Swagger, who's a wonderful athlete, a quad sculler, who now specializes in helping mature adults row, age gracefully on the rowing machine. So she's well versed in helping people work through injuries and the challenges of age, and making sure that you keep your life in your years as well as years to your life. And I'll put out an email. Last year we did an April OarBoard challenge where we challenged OarBoarders to fitness, fun, and adventure. And we just tracked, again, same sort of thing as the Concept 2 challenge, but a little bit more free flowing and flexible about how you'd want to track it. And so we're thinking of doing that again to keep people engaged, especially in April as the ice starts to break up and we can get back on the water. So we'll put that there. And last year we had Ed won the fitness challenge, which was the most meters logged. We had Sue, who won the adventure challenge, where she left a daily diary of all the different adventures she had on her OarBoard throughout the month. And Michael Carr, who won Michael Carr won the adventure, and Susan won the fun. Susan won the fun challenge, and Michael Carr won the adventure. He logged a pretty great adventure rowing out all the way to this lighthouse, and so it was a great way to, I guess, again, share how you do things. And what we did, let me see if I can load that up. This is what it looked like at the end of the month. I'll share the screen over here. You can see everybody logging their ergs or their Susan left a little, 1 or 2 line journal, like a bullet journal on the screen. And, we simply had a sign up with your name, location, fitness, and here I can share the link and then you can look at it, copy link, and I'll put it in the chat box, which is right here. That's to the old one, and then this is the new one. So we're going to log our work and distance, time, or stories, or all 3. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you're participating and that it's motivating you to get out there a little bit more. And so this is here's the second one, is the link to the present challenge. So if any of you are interested in that, I'll send out a couple more emails over the next weeks about that just to prompt some interest, and then we'll keep it rolling. Let me see what we have here next. So we had a couple of questions come in that I thought I would answer. And if you have any other questions, this is point for discussion. The first question was, how do I go about progressing any interest of our personal benefit, as anyone can contact you directly during the web? And I believe Diana answered that earlier, this idea that if you talk to someone, if you can write down their name or give them your link, we try to ask them, again, it's, we're a small company and we're trying to do this, as best we can, but your ability to communicate to us what you're seeing and being kind about it if we miss it, because we're doing our best, you're doing our best, and we actually will bend over backwards just to make sure that you're getting your credit. If you feel you deserve it. So so it is tracked if people use your link. We do ask people who call in, if there was a referral, And if you know of anybody, just let us know. Set a quick note. Hey, just wondering if this person bought. They seemed really, really interested. I just want to make sure that if they do buy, I get the credit. And those three things can really make sure that you do get your credits, whether it's a gear credit, like we said, $300 US gear credit, or a $100 cash credit for the referral. Other question is, where will you be oarboarding this summer? So let's do a little round robin. Do you have any places that are really exciting that you will be oarboarding this summer? And let me start with myself. I'm going to be going out east to the Ottawa Valley, the Ottawa River Valley. My wife has a cottage on the Quebec side, so I will be oarboarding on the Ottawa River up in in northwestern Quebec. How about yourself, Carol?
Fallen Leaf Lake, just at the bottom end of Lake Tahoe. I'll be spending a week there. So, and as I said, I'll be flying with my board this time instead of driving. So I'll get to try all of the airline and dragging it through Reno Airport, things like that.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. And are you going to bring it to Finland?
No, no, I've got 3 races in Finland, so I'm, I don't want to screw up my racing. Yeah. And then we're going to stop off in Iceland on the way back. And we're not going to, no, I'm not hauling those around on that particular trip, but I am going to Norway in the fall, but that may be, I've been out on the Oslo Fjord and I'd like to do that again. So maybe I'll do that.
Oh yeah. Well,
I have a dorm reunion.
Oh, that's really fun. Yeah, that would be really fun. Yeah.
I lived in an international dorm, so we have reunions all over the world.
Oh, that's yeah, that's amazing. How about yourself, David? Do you have any plans to go anywhere exotic?
Short answer, no. No plans. No, nothing planned yet for this year. But I do live right across the street from a lake. I mean, so all I got to do is cross the street, and I'm there. And it's 3.5 miles long, 1 mile wide. So it's a nice little workout for a beginner like me.
Yeah, that'll be wonderful. What's the name of the lake that you'll be rowing on?
This is Lake Mohawk.
Lake Mohawk. Yeah, right by. You said it was Sparta, or?
It's in Sparta, New Jersey. We're in Sussex County, the northwest county of the state. And for those of you who don't know how beautiful New Jersey is, that's deliberate. We don't tell people. It's all about the refineries on the turnpike. And that's it. That's all there is to see here, folks. Just keep moving.
I've gone down to the Pine Barrens a few times with my canoe, but I've not taken an oarboard to New Jersey.
Well, I'm up in the mountain section.
You're in the north, yeah.
Yeah, so we got mountains and lakes and woods and things. And I've lived in central Jersey, which is more rolling hills, and then it flattens out down the shore. It gets just flat as a pancake down that way. So anyway, I'll let you know if we go somewhere. It'll probably be by car, and there's plenty of room in the back for the board and gear. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's great. That's great news. And how about you, John? Any ideas?
Once the Rochester Inclusive Rowing Group gets going again in the spring, I'll row with them on the Genesee River. Usually, most Saturday mornings we're out, and I go midweek by myself, get a couple of rows in it. But then in the summertime, I'm the aquatic director for Camp Whitman on Seneca Lake. And the board goes down to Seneca Lake with me, and I introduce campers to oarboarding that have only experienced stand-up paddle boards, and let them see what happens when you sit down and turn around.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it's fun. It's interesting that both you, John, and Carol have been talking about bringing it to camp, because camp can be such a foundational and transformative time in a child's life. We've been talking about that off and on. How do we get this into the hands of more kids and more camps? we haven't cracked that nut yet, but if you have any ideas, we'd love to get more kids oarboarding and rowing. And especially a lot of these camps already have stand-up paddle boards for the kids to row, and these things are rugged and great for young people to fool around on.
Mhm.
Yeah, love that. Okay. Well, and Grow Your Rowing Club is what we have here. So what do I have here? I just wanted to go over this as well because actually, let me share the other screen here. Stop share screen. This one, share. So Grow Your Rowing Club. We have rowing clubs all over the world that have been using the OarBoard to both expand the inclusion of their club, to increase the onboarding of new members, to reduce the time of learn to row if people are transitioning into flat water boats, and to create a fleet of public rentals because they're super stable. So we've got the Hong Kong Rowing Club. We've got the Oklahoma City Rowing Club on Lake Hoffner. We've got the Weybridge Rowing Club in the UK, and the Argonaut Rowing Club in Toronto. And each of these clubs have set up the OarBoard, and they're using the OarBoard to great effect. And we've just struck a deal with Rowing BC, and so they're purchasing a fleet of OarBoards that they're going to be taking around to the community in the interior of British Columbia, and just setting up in smaller communities and introducing people to the boards and to the sport. So we've, this is something that we've been plugging away at, and we see a lot of potential in this to show people the joys of rowing, of full body fitness, of stability, of the independence that comes when you have a boat like this and you can maneuver it yourself. So we're just looking for different ways to get into clubs, and it's a little bit different from how a flat water club would approach training. There's a little bit more fun and adventure and that come into the mix, which I think is wonderful. Just get on your boat and get out there and have a great time. And you can see when the kids get on there, it's a really good time. So this is something that's available. You can see my smiling mug and my big tattoo. That's the, and some information there. So if you are at a club or you're talking to a camp, this is a resource, Grow Your Rowing Club, that you can point people towards. And we do have more information on how they can use this equipment to get more people out on the water using full body, using all of their body.
The other observation I would make is that the OarBoard is so much more robust than a traditional rowing shell, which is a very fragile and extremely costly piece of equipment. You can't even step in the wrong place on a shell, and on an OarBoard, they're pretty hard to hurt them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's been a big piece of feedback too, from especially from the Argo Rowing Club, Connor Eldson, who said they're so used to being so timid and scared around their boats that it was a bit of a mind shift to have things that you could just throw on the ground and they'd bounce. The inflatable boards. Mm-hmm. And if you treat equipment with a modicum of respect, it lasts you a long time. But I know Harold, who's the inventor and the owner of OarBoard, really values quality, really values making things that last, and takes a lot of pride in that. So that's shown in the product that's created, and is it is very robust, like you say, John.
It's also very maneuverable for, it's lightweight. And it's easy for kids and those of us who are aging a bit, you know, to hump these things around, get them up on cars, get them in the water by ourselves. And I think that's another selling point compared to a 17-foot shell. That's a lot harder to deal with as a single person trying to get on the water.
Yeah. Well, and we get a lot of feedback from that, you know, whether you've had some, like you've had a shoulder injury, like you were saying, or you don't have the upper body strength that you used to have. It's so nice to have that independence. And when I've heard that before, the independence is valuable, and the longer you can keep your independence as you age, the longer you will keep it. But you have to exercise it. You have to find new ways to do that. And the OarBoard is one way to exercise your independence and keep getting out there.
I do have to confess, I can't keep up with the shells when I'm on the board.
Oh. Yes. No,
If you could, it's the OarBoard is a lot like race walking compared to running. You have to work a lot harder to go as fast. So that's a benefit.
That's good exercise. Well, I'm at the end of my prepared program. So I'd just wanted to again open it up to just idle conversation or questions or comments before we go. And I think the easiest way to do that is to just do final thoughts. We'll do a round circle and we'll see where that goes. And how about we start with Carol? Give me some final thoughts.
Okay, I'm still gonna, as soon as I get my OarBoard up off the garage ceiling, I'm gonna try and put a kayak seat on and see how that goes for my inflatable kayaks. And then the other thing I was interested in is, do we have any information or nibbles or anything about the confluence where we try to get together in one place and have an OarBoard jam?
The OarBoard jam. So Marty Hawk is the one who is spearheading that. So what I would encourage you to do is go to that OarBoard ambassador page, send Marty a note, and tickle him with an email, and he will be so happy to receive that email, and it will probably stimulate the conversation. And then if and when something gets organized, let myself know, and I can just send the information out to the entire list so that everybody knows. And yeah.
Good. If I get together with Andy Medvick and Finn and the others around here in Colorado, there are a lot of good reservoirs around with campgrounds nearby. So maybe we could do a little scouting if we, some of our trips could be scouting trips. Or locations.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah, scout out, because that's the rowing across a lake to a place that's not accessible to road, and bring a little pot and boil some tea and rehydrate some freeze-dried food.
I haven't done Boundary Waters in a long time, but that's Boundary Waters and Quetico have lots of places like that, and you could portage an OarBoard, as easy as you can portage a canoe. So that actually has some thoughts too. So,
well, especially if you have two people, and again, that's the beauty of the OarBoard too, because if it's too heavy with the unit on top, you can just take the straps off, carry the board, then carry the unit, then carry the oars. As long as it's not too long of a portage, then
yeah, well, if you're going out for a couple of weeks and you're portaging, it's multiple trips anyway, no matter how many of them there you are.
That's great. I love that. So you've got some homework now, Carol.
I do. I have two things of homework: locations for a jam and kayak seats.
Yes. And that's locations for jam, kayak seats, and reaching out to one other person, Andy Medvick, and
Yes, yeah, to try and join the Denver group.
Denver group, yeah, with Finn. And then John, what are your final words?
Final words, be safe out there in the springtime. The shoulder season, especially the spring more than the fall, encourages us to take risks just because we're so anxious to get out there, but be safe and be careful. I'm a water safety instructor and a lifeguard, so.
Well, it's a great message, close to my heart too. It's
You talked about wearing wristbands. Have you seen road IDs, which is all of your emergency contact information on a little stainless steel tab? I've got one on my watch right there, but you can also
interesting.
you can also get them in the same size that goes on.
Yeah.
You can get it's called roadid.com, and you can put them on a wristband, which I do also. So when I'm out there rowing, I always have that ID on me.
Yeah.
So if something bad happens, they can at least let my wife know where I am.
Yeah, I have them because when I go out on trails working out, when I go do a 6 miler, 10K, 20K, things like that, I'm out sometimes pretty isolated.
Yeah.
And there's some that can go on your shoelaces, they can go on your watch band, or they can go on one of those wristbands.
Yep.
Well, that's a great piece. Well, one thing that we've been talking about is putting together a safety program through OarBoard, but we haven't really put it together. But if there is, I'm not sure how much time or interest you have, but if it would be great to put together even, say, a safety committee who want to put together advice of what other OarBoarders or ambassadors could read to make sure that they are safe when they get out on the water. That's just an idea I'm putting out there, not looking for any commitments, but thank you, John. We will be safe. And David, what are your final words?
Well, I'm just thinking to what you were saying there, that these clubs that are out there already, they probably have a safety policy, and just kind of collating their what they have come up with and enhancing it with what probably would be a really good first statement. So just a thought there in terms of safety. Be safe and have fun. I would add that. That's it.
It's great. You want to bring us home, Diana?
Yeah, thank you everyone for being here today. I think that's great. It's neat to see the communities growing. I find it really exciting. I'm down with this idea of getting a group somewhere, the OarBoard Jam. So I'm definitely would love to be part of that, get involved in that. And thanks for the safety advice. I think that is a good idea. We have a few clubs we're quite involved with it. We could work on that and get it kind of started going there. That has been brought up before as a request from someone. So definitely something to get working on. I will add to our list, definitely. And as the weather gets better, it'll be more exciting to see everyone getting out there more and seeing what everyone's up to now that we are opening up travel and stuff. And I think this is a time to start trying to organize something. We'd love to do that. It'd be great. We did something similar to this quite a few years back, maybe in 2017, a trip to Belize, but it was a bit of a different style where they were just rowers that wanted to come and try out and rent the OarBoards on a group event that was organized by another company. But I think we could do it within our own community where we all just go somewhere with our own OarBoards and do it. So I love this idea. I really think it'd be a lot of fun. Let's go. We got to discuss some destinations. Where do people want to go? But let's do it for sure. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on here again soon.
That's
And I'll
wonderful.
write down a couple of people. I'll email some questions you had. And if you have any questions for me, then send me an email anytime as well.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you next time.